everybody was done with it. So, mask, no mask, everybody had fights over masks. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And everybody was sick of it. So the fact that we're like quarantined, from the world, people didn't like it. It was hard. It was very difficult, but we got it done.
Mr. Eric Roberts, how are you, sir?
I could not be better. Thanks for asking.
Yes, listen, I just watched My Last Best Friend. I loved it. It was a mind trip. I felt like it was a mixed blended genre film. Thought it was a lot. It was great. And a pandemic film too that had me guessing all the way through.
Thank you so much, pal. I love hearing that from you.
Of course.
My wife, Eliza.
Hey, Eliza, how are you?
I'm great. I just want to take a little something off the screen there. If there's anything you guys need, let us know. We have a whole bunch of help here.
Thank you, Eliza. I appreciate it.
Okay.
That's my boss.
Well, Eric, first question I have for you is what attracted you to the role of Walter in My Last Best Friend?
Well, it was just the challenge of playing those two people on screen, talking to each other, was something that I've seen done, and I've never been satisfied with it. And so I wanted to accomplish it. And so that's why I made the movie. And I also liked the filmmaker.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool. And I wanted to work for him. It's as simple as that.
You disappear into the role of the Walter that socializes, the one that is a higher pitched voice a little bit. Can you talk to me about developing that version of Walter? I don't want to get into spoilery stuff because there is a big twist in here, but that version of Walter, you completely disappear into that role. So how did you come up with that voice and just developing that character?
He's the guy, I patterned him after the guy who always greets you for the executive when he comes out to greet you in the lobby, and he's the middleman, before the executive. That's who I patterned that guy after. He's the guy who's always sweet, always accessible, always approachable, and always what? That's so kind. So that's who that guy was, and the other guy was the other guy.
The other guy was definitely the other guy who they're both completely different roles. Can you talk to me about shooting, the difference in shooting those scenes and how that was done? Because you're right. Like the one thing I loved about this is because it seemed like you were just interacting with yourself. So like, can you talk to me about just how the process was done?
Well, that's a Philippe question because
gotcha.
I go out of my way to not pay attention to that. So I don't get absorbed with it while I'm on set.
Gotcha.
I go out of my way to avoid understanding any of it up till I have to. And when I do, I do. But if I don't have to know it, I don't want to know it.
Ah, nice. Now, you just talked about Philippe for a second. He's an Italian filmmaker, and he's brilliant. He wrote, directed, and produced this film. Can you talk to me about working with him as a collaborator?
He's a wonderful little genius, and he's going to make a lot of noise in movie making because he knows how to make a movie. And the fact that he would choose something this hard this early in his career is amazing.
Oh, absolutely. Now, this film touches a lot on the pandemic as well. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys shot this during the second wave of the pandemic. Can you talk to me about that experience a little bit?
It was uncomfortable. It was hard. And everybody was cranky because the second time around, everybody was done with it. So, mask, no mask, everybody had fights over masks. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And everybody was sick of it. So the fact that we're like quarantined, from the world. People didn't like it. It was hard. It was very difficult, but we got it done.
Now, this character Walter is so fascinating to me. He was homeless, wins the lottery, and then things kind of go crazy from there. But he has a pretty damaged relationship with his son. Can you talk about his relationship with his family? He's lost his wife, and he has a pretty hard relationship with his son. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't want to dissect that because it's such a chapter in the understanding of him in the movie that if you take it out of context, it's going to be confusing.
Gotcha.
So let me let the audience just take that in as he displays it.
Gotcha.
Thank
Now,
you, buddy.
Of course. Let me ask you this. What did you want to bring to the role of Walter that wasn't necessarily on the page?
We don't ask to have life. And one of my Walters knows that, and one of them doesn't. That's kind of the difference.
Gosh, that's such a great answer too, because I see. It's hard to not. I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody. I want everybody to go watch this movie because it is fantastic. Talk to me about this a little bit, though. Preparing for the role of Walter, did you kind of know the choices you wanted to make going in to distinguish the two?
I just knew they had to be different. So the way I talk is kind of unimpressive. I just talk like a guy. I don't talk like an actor, kind of a thing. And so I wanted one to sound very unaffected and one to sound slightly affected. Because one wasn't and one was.
Absolutely. Now, look, can I switch gears for a second? Because there's something that I know, the charity that you're involved with, that I read about yesterday, and I did a deep dive on this because it was so intriguing to me. I have an 8-year-old stepdaughter, and one of the charities is Natural Child. And I started reading about the attachment parenting stuff, and it was just so eye-opening. How did you get involved with that? And can you explain that a little bit further for anyone that may not know what that is?
It's a website called naturalchild.org. You must go if you haven't. It is the answer to all your questions about anything that has to do with your relationship with and to your child, from infancy to the end. And it's everything you need, and we all need it. That's the thing. And we all have to understand that we do need it. So we go after it and we get it, because this book is absolutely the most valuable thing I can ever give anybody in my whole life.
Yeah, honestly, I'm honestly happy to be talking to you about this as well, because it was just so eye-opening for me, just as a parent, and reading just about discipline and certain things like that. Oh my gosh, it changed my whole view on so many parenting things. It's ridiculous.
I'm so proud to hear you say that. Jan Hunt, she's a genius.
Yes, that was the author of a lot of the articles I was reading yesterday.
Right.
Fantastic. It was so eye-opening.
It's the answer to anything you will have to ask about your relationship with your child. All of it.
How did you get involved with the charity?
My wife is a genius who does everything well, if not perfectly. And we were talking, one day about children. And she said, "Have you read this book?" I said, "No." So she gave me a copy and she inscribed it. I read the book and I fell in love with my wife even more. And I said, what can we do to help this woman, Jan Hunt? Because people are not going to make her rich with this knowledge. We have to help her. We have to get it out there. And so we promote her every time anybody says the word child.
And I am so happy you do. Like I said, I'm so happy I found this website, because there's so many things that I was and I'm going to go back as soon as this conversation's over. I'm going to go back and read the other things that interested me in there. There's so many things in there that are just so eye-opening to treat children as human beings and stuff like that. I just found it so amazing. So incredible. So Eliza, thank you for introducing me to it through you, Eric.
Cool. I love hearing that, pal.
Another thing that you and Eliza are really proud of, and you guys have, is a pet sanctuary where you guys rescue animals, dogs, cats, birds, squirrels. Can you talk about that a little bit?
About 18 years ago, I found a little baby hurt squirrel in our yard. We have these huge trees. They're like 5 stories tall. They're like 50, 60 feet tall, big old trees. And so I take it to the animal place where they fix animals. I say, "Fix this squirrel," and I leave my number, and they call me and say, "Well, the squirrel's well. Can we bring it back to your property?" I say, "Of course." They come to the property. "Oh my God, you have all these trees. Can we bring all the hurt squirrels here? We get tons." I said, "Sure." So 300 squirrels later, we have a squirrel sanctuary to the point where the city gives us 100 pounds of walnuts every month.
Really?
So, yeah, they eat walnuts, and they're so spoiled they won't eat peanuts. And we have a whole group of yearlings that are all very thin, but all our squirrels are obese because they get all they want when they want it, and they do it. All but the yearlings.
I love that. I love seeing those little fat squirrels too. I see them in the park where I'm at too. They're so cute. So how long ago did that start? Did you say?
About 18 years ago.
Wow. And so is it just squirrels, or now is it encompassing more animals?
No, we have lots of animals, but we have a squirrel sanctuary, and in that part of our property is about a quarter acre, where it's just these 2 huge 5-story trees and they're apartment buildings for squirrels.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. So I mean, you love animals and nature, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, we have everything you can think of. We have horses, we have cats, we have dogs, we have everything.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Well, Eric, last question I have for you is there a role that you want to, like, with this film, My Last Best Friend, this is something you've wanted to do for a long time, playing two different roles in a single film. Is there anything else on your filmography bucket list that you'd like to check off?
I want to play Nureyev after he stopped dancing.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's the next big one, huh? That hopefully we could get you in that role.
Well, we'll see. Somebody has to write it. I am not a writer. I am not a director. I am an actor.
And, a fantastic one at that.
Oh, thank you, brother. You have kind words. I would love to play that man because he lived at a time. He was an incredible athletic artist, and he lived at a time when to be homosexual in Russia was worth your life, and
Right.
he was. And so I want to explore that in the understanding of mankind.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. Listen, the film My Last Best Friend, absolutely fantastic. It is such a journey, and I feel like it's such a great blended genre film. You know, because there's elements in there that are a crime thriller. There's heartfelt elements with family. It's a pandemic movie, and even a little bits of horror that it's in there with some of the scenes. But
From your mouth to God's ears.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic job, Mr. Roberts. Thank you so much for your time. And again, thank you for opening my eyes up with thenaturalchild.org. I want everybody that's a parent to go visit that site because it will open up your eyes on just parenting and understanding children more. I think it's fantastic. Like I said, I'm literally about to go on the site and just read a few more articles before my little girl gets back from school today.
You are so cool. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Eric. Hey, listen, man, you are a pleasure to talk to, sir. We got to do this again sometime. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Eric.
Peace out.
Thanks, brother.